What's going on, everybody? This is Kings and Dreams. This is the second stream of the day, and I got one more coming up. But for this stream, you see the title, see the thumbnail. So we're going to be talking about well-traveled women, and we got some questions for them. But first, I want to bring up my co-host, Miss Polly. How you doing?
I am well. I am well. I'm good today. How are you?
I am doing extremely well. I'm doing extremely well. So for those of you all who don't know, so Miss Polly is the one who actually put this all together. So I can't really take too much credit for it. I'm just helping her host, but I'm very excited to actually have this on my channel, and then she's going to put this on her channel. So I'm very, very, very excited to have this conversation today. So first, I'm going to start pulling up my guests, and then we're gonna get it going. All right. So, Lady E, how we doing this evening?
I'm doing fine, and yourself?
Doing well, doing well, doing well. Thank you for joining us this evening. Definitely appreciate it.
You're
Definitely
welcome. Thank
appreciate
you
it.
for having me. Thank you for having me, both of you.
Oh man, this is amazing. Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, what's in that glass? What you got? Some red wine right there, Cabernet.
Yes, Menage a Trois, Red Blend.
Oh, okay. All right. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. All right. And then now we got the locks keeper. How we doing? How we doing this evening?
I am doing swell. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you for joining us this evening.
It's an honor. It's an honor. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, and then now we got Miss Holly. How are we doing this evening?
Hey y'all, what's up?
All right, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for joining as well.
Likewise, thank you.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And we got Miss Nebraska in the building. How we doing? I think you're on mute.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Miss Nebraska.
All right. Thank you for joining us this evening, Miss Nebraska. All right. And then now we got Mrs. She Said. How we doing this evening?
Good, good. Happy Sunday to everybody. Thanks for the invite, Kings and Dreams, Miss Polly. Shout out to everybody on the panel. It's good to see all you lovely ladies.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think we got one more that's supposed to be one or two more that's supposed to be coming, but let's get the conversation going. And so let's go with my co-host. Why don't you let some of the people know about yourself and about your channel?
Yes. So I am Miss Polly. Yes, I am Polly. I do practice being polyamorous. I also talk about relationships and building, good structural founded relationships. Doesn't matter if it's monogamous, poly lifestyles. Also with building relationships between just people in general, and how you could be a better person, and how you can use those communication skills and things like that just to better your life. So on my channel, it's Miss Polly Wright. I'm also on Instagram. I have a few groups on Facebook and things like that. And we just kind of dive in about just being a better person and how we can, work to strive to be the best you. So that's what I do. And just have a good time. So I like to share my thoughts with other people and see, if there is something that we can connect on, and go from there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Moderators, if you can make sure that you are dropping the ladies links to their channels or content. All right. And then let's go with Lady E. How we doing? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Hello, good evening. How are you doing?
We doing well. So why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
I'm Lady E. I currently reside right outside the city of New Orleans, literally like 3 minutes from downtown New Orleans. I'm in my late 30s. I am a single divorced mother of two. I am by way of Caribbean heritage from St. Lucia. And I definitely enjoy being on these panels. Thank you for having me. And I'm looking to have a great evening with our discussion.
All right. Island vibes in the building. Shout out to St. Lucia. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, Miss Nebraska.
Hello, I am Miss Nebraska. I stream on twitchtv.com every Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Yes, I am originally from Omaha, Nebraska, currently living in Atlanta. And thank you so much to Kings and Dreams and Miss Polly for having us on this evening.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. All right. Then we got Holly. How we doing? So tell the people about yourself. I think you're on mute.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? My name is Holly D, aka Miss Holly Baby, and you can find me on all my social media platforms, Instagram and TikTok, as well as YouTube at Over 40 Podcast. Basically, I talk about all things dating, relationships, love, sex, and just living over the age of 40. So like I said, I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Over 40 Podcasts and the Over 40 Podcasts on YouTube. So go follow me.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Holly. Appreciate it. All right. Then we got the Locks Keeper. How we doing?
That is my name. I am doing fantastic. I am the locks keeper. Basically, I am on Instagram and I just talk about natural hair and just how I maintain my own journey. I talk about life stories on my stories, and I also work in the organic farms as well in upstate New York, which is really a blessing in disguise. I work with Jersey cows and I work with just business and everything like that on the administration side. And then also I just go onto Instagram to just share my story in the mix of all of that. And yeah, if you want to follow me just to hang out and just to learn more about locks, go right ahead.
Absolutely. And then a really quick question. I'm sure a lot of people are going to ask this, so I figured I'd ask. But how long have you been growing your locks? Because they look amazing.
17 years.
Nice,
I
nice.
would
17
say
years.
this is how I tell people. In 2016, I bleached my hair up to here. And so basically, it took 6 years to grow it back to this length because I had a lot of breakage. And that was kind of like a hurdle in one of my journey, like life path and those journey. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, it changed drastically. So I would get a lot of questions like, oh, it's 17 years. Why isn't your hair longer? And then I'm just like, I bleached my hair in 2016. So that's just a part of it. And just sharing that and just knowing that you can always regrow your locks with just one set.
Gotcha. Great information. Definitely appreciate that. All right. And then we got Mrs. She Said.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I am one half of He Said, She Said, Love and Abundance with Harris Tribe Media Group. We come on every Thursday at 8 o'clock. We talk about all topics under the sun, from relationships, love, kids, current events, and just having some good old fun and joking around. I also have a separate entity, which is Mrs. She Said, and I do a Shame Sunday. And with this Shame Sunday, I bring a lot of reflection of the, bad and foolish behavior that, carries on in our communities that we should shine a light on and try to reflect on and do better, because our children are our future. So I'm an advocate for the children, and I'm absolutely an advocate for our Black men. And I'm here for all the fun. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Absolutely. Well, we're gonna get it going. Thank you, moderators, for sharing the channel. Definitely appreciate it. All right. So let's go with the first question. And I am going to I'm going to start backwards. So I'm going to start with you, Mrs. She Said, for for you elaborating on this question. Does globalization change the way you look that people look at dating? I know that you're married, right? So I guess you kind of have to look at it from an outside lens. But do you think that globalization has changed the way people have dated nowadays?
Um, I'm not sure if most people understand what's happening. With globalization, I would think they would be more serious and purposeful and intentional with their lives. Um, So I'm not sure how it's affecting most people. Me, it definitely is. I want to be prepared with any, survival skills possible that, we were using before, the time of the new technology. Cultivating land, being able to cultivate seeds and bring forth fruits and vegetables, those things are very important. Learning to filter water, finding a blueprint to, waterways and things like that, just to be prepared. So I'm not sure if everybody is that aware. If anything, women will be snatching up husbands left and right to, secure themselves and their children and their families because they're needed and necessary in times of disaster. And, it's kind of imminent at this point. So, hopefully they'll get more prepared and do a lot more research than, flipping their timeline of TikToks and such.
All right. All right. All right. Okay. So now we are going to go to Locks Keeper. What say you?
Wow, I like what you said about how, we should really go back to like the old roots of like living with the land rather than on it and really looking at what we eat and our ingredients. I like got my eyes open by so much when I met my boyfriend. He is Ukrainian and he was born in Ukraine. And he did come here to America when he was 8 years old, and he's then got Americanized, but he has a lot of family in Ukraine. He visit there. So I got my eyes open not only to my food palette, but just the way that the world works in other governments. And so that kind of opened my eyes. And I just went to schools when I was younger that were like diverse. And so we got a lot of diverse people, and like I heard their cultures. And my father's a pastor and he did a lot of mission work in China, Thailand. He's just been a lot overseas. So he had his eyes open and he almost let his kids kind of just like, just be open minded, learn, absorb, and listen, and, and just like use the tools and navigate through this earth as well. So I think it changed, and I think it changed for the better, but also there is bad in it as well. And just kind of have to navigate through it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And then let's go with Miss Holly.
So I just want to make sure that I understand the question. You're saying how has globalization impacted dating? Is that I just want to make sure I got the right question.
Yeah, so does globalization change the way you look at dating?
Um, I mean, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I guess for me, because I've always been open, I'm a equal opportunity dater. So like getting access to different cultures, I experienced it because I was a military kid. Seeing, a black mom and a German dad was nothing new. That's just what we saw, and it was all about proximity. And globalization has been going on when it comes to relationships and dating, just for the mere fact that you have people that their living what they do for a living takes them everywhere. Myself, I was a flight attendant for 6 years. I traveled all over. So yeah, that has something to do with it. And finally, because we're on these streaming platforms, you don't know who's seeing you wherever. So, I mean, of course, it's been going on. It's a matter of proximity and technology that has really just contributed to that. And for me, yeah, like I said before, I take it into consideration. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm an equal opportunity dater, so I feel like I'm all for it.
Understood. Understood. Okay. All right, Miss Nebraska, you are up.
I'm shy, Kings and Dreams, so you don't have to put me on solo.
It's all right. Don't worry about it. I mean, it's just it like you're not even cammed up, so you're good.
So I would say yes to that answer. I would say for those who would like to date outside of the United States, to explore other options. Hashtag why not? My thing is just don't bash the westernized women just for you choosing the opportunity to go outside of the states to date. Like, it's for grabs. I say go for it. Explore other cultures. Learn different cultures, different creeds, ethnicities, religions. Go for it.
Okay. All right. Lady E, what do we got? You're on mute.
My bad.
You good?
As for globalization and the change of how we date, I'm open to it. I mean, obviously, I come from a different culture. I love experiencing culture and the way that we work now, especially in America. You have a lot of people who travel for work, and they travel not just to different states, but they travel to different countries. So they're experiencing different cultures, and they're meeting and networking with different people. So it's definitely an open door, is my opinion.
Okay. All right. And then my co-host, Miss Polly.
Okay.
I think you're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Is it unmuted?
You are all good. Nope, you're mute. You're muted again.
I pushed it twice. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, yeah, for globalization, obviously, like you said, technology is a big thing. The fact that we have so much access to the world now makes it a lot smaller. Which then I will say, yeah, it affects how we date because we just have so much access to other people, other cultures, different everything. And you don't have to just date within your town and your city. Even going back to the 90s, I mean, you really didn't hear anybody going, way out. I mean, on large scales. I know there's military and all that, but we never heard that on the large scales that we hear now. So I do think it is changing everything, and it actually changes the way we kind of look at other people because nowadays you could make a comment about someone or a particular place or a kind of people, and it could be so being more educated about the world around you and things like that is really important. And like I know some ladies said just even down to just getting food, different kinds of things, you're just so exposed to everything else, and that can change your dating realm, especially if you date someone in a different religion, different area. And so I do think it does make a big difference.
You're on mute.
Yeah. You know what? You guys rubbing off on me, man. All right. So
Oh,
I
wow.
was saying, thank you so much. So we're gonna go to the next question, and then I'm gonna jump in the chat and read some comments after this one. All right. Does does the term passport bro, is that relevant to you? And if not, I mean, if yes, why? If not, why? And then we'll start with you, Miss Polly, if you're still there. I think she might have stepped away. Okay. All right. So we'll start with you, Lady E. Oh no, Polly's there. Polly's there. All right. Go ahead, Polly.
Yeah, I am sorry. I just had to turn my phone around. Okay, so
Yep.
I I will say The term passport bros. I know a lot of people say they don't hear it on their threads and things like that. And some people say they do see it and hear it on their threads. I think it really has to do with what you look like. We all know the algorithm, and the algorithm kind of chooses what you look at all day long, and you really don't. You have control over it, but if you're not looking for anything else, you probably won't be exposed to anything else. You have to purposefully look for other things because that's how our technology is built, just to tailor on just your interest, not you find something interesting. So when you found out about passport bros, for me, I kind of had a warning sign of, oh my gosh, and are they bashing Black women in the United States, or are they really talking about going out and being interactive, with new cultures and things like that, which is a positive thing, which I'm all down and for. So it kind of put me in a place of a weird place. So the ones who are doing it to be positive and look for different cultures and something maybe that they can connect with, I'm down with. The ones who are maybe using it to be bashing, I'm not understanding why that is, and hopefully that needs to change.
Okay. All right. And then all right, so we'll go with Miss Lady E.
Passport bro is honestly something that has been new to my vocabulary within the past 6 months. So when I look it up, the Urban Dictionary says passport bros are men who believe that Western women are at the point of no return. Um, is it relevant to me based on the Urban Dictionary? No. However, I do know people, more of Americans, American natives, that's the same as the melanin like we do. Travel has is definitely something not necessarily new, but is more affordable now and is more broad amongst the U.S. Um, and I guess for me, it's in all what your purpose is. I've stated on a previous uh, panel that I felt that it's kind of weird for me that if you can't find a woman, at least in the United States, that match your aura and you completely bash American women or American citizens women, whatever, it just comes off kind of off to me. And so if you are the passport bro who's like, let me go to another country and find a woman who would be submissive or would listen to me or obey me, for me, it's a little bit weird that you can't connect with your own people.
All right. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Made a mistake. All right. There we go. All right. Let's go with Miss Nebraska. You are up. You're on mute.
I would say the term passport bro is new to me. I see that that's a huge new trending topic here on YouTube. Of course, I'm primarily on Twitch. I have no issue at all with Black American men going overseas to date or marry women overseas.
Okay. All right. Miss Holly.
I've been waiting for this question for a long time, but I haven't been on a panel to answer it. So let's be real. Sex tourism is a thing. It's been a thing from years on now. You got white men, white women, Black men and Black women participating in sex tourism. They've been doing it for years. I remember flying international. If someone was going, like if it was the if it was going to Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, there'd be a lot of black men on there. Going to Sao Paulo, a lot of black men on there. I mean, like I said before, let's be real now. Because they not going over this quote unquote passport bros thing. Let's be real now. They ain't over there trying to find a wife. And they ain't over there trying to find a significant other. That's not happening. Like I said before, it's all about sex tourists. But I'm like, dang, y'all, why y'all gotta everybody, it's a unknown thing that it exists, but it's like how can I describe it? It's so flamboyant. Okay, and like why black women are brought into this conversation, and two, why y'all gotta be extra with it? Like there's videos out there where they show men in this mansion, Airbnb mansion, and you got a row of fucking prostitutes. Excuse me, I didn't mean to cuss. A row of prostitutes. You got a row of prostitutes coming into the house. So again, I think because of social media, you have these people where I think it really originates from men who maybe might have an incel territory or an elitist territory not condition, but mindset. Sorry, I'm a little tongue tied tonight. It's an elitist. It's an elitist mindset. It comes from a place where, well, I got money, I got this, I got that. Why can't I have this woman? And then when you go to a place, let's keep it a buck, you paying. And then you can say, oh, well, look, women want me over here. There's no need for all that. Go have your merrily way. It's been going on for years. You just got these new age men that just like to publicize it. Cause I don't see European men putting their business out. They go, they do, and they have a Wayne Dane doodle of a time, and they take their ass back home. So that's the thing where I'm like, well, why are we making this a thing, and why does it have to be directed to black women? It don't make it make sense, because that's my 2 cents.
Okay. All right. Now, let's go with Locks Keeper.
Yeah, so this word I did not know. I read the question. I was like, passport bros. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I am curious. So I am gonna look it up and see what's the top about it. And I just like did a little quote, and I kind of just thought about it a little bit, digest. A growing group of thousands of Black men is preaching to more men on social media platforms that women in other countries are the best source for a traditional woman to settle down with. Now, I was just like, oh, okay, so there's just some Black men that are going overseas and, trying to find their mate, trying to find a traditional woman that is just raised a little bit different in their cultures. I mean, there is different cultures out there that have that instillment of, clean, cook, raise kids, nurture kids, get married. And, those cultures are still surviving and thriving at the same time. They're still doing that. And maybe there is some men that are doing that. And from what I've heard from these ladies in the panels, there's just like opening my eyes and just like I'm absorbing the information, because to tell you the truth, I don't really know what to say. I'm probably going to get it on TikTok since I said it out loud. And then I'm probably going to see a lot of Pass Pro, and then I can really see what's going on there.
Oh, and can I jump in real quick? Oh, because I want Locks to know this.
Go ahead.
So, yeah, okay. So I particularly picked Miss Locks because she to me, we've been on the panel. She's very, very traditional in my eyes, and she also dates someone from another country. So I don't want to be, but I think her input on just hearing, absorbing it, and taking it in, and then her being able to reflect on that, I do think that her view would be very positive in this conversation too, because of the fact that she is traditional. And if the men who are saying there's no traditional women here, then what the heck is she? So I just wanted. That's why I kind of brought her to take it in and then give us back what she thinks. So I just wanted to mention that. But proceed.
Yeah, I
Okay,
definitely agree
got
with
it.
that.
All right, and then Mrs. She said, "What say you?"
Oh, I mean, I have no guns in the fight to say, for any gentlemen who are carrying passports, I would just, suggest to them to be very safe. And, I wish them the best luck in finding love wherever they need to. Because it's what it's saying to me is their experiences are not as fruitful. So they are willing to take a trip and venture out of the USA to find love and whatever they're looking for, which I believe they have absolutely every right to. So, good luck to you fellas, and I hope you find what you're looking for.
All right. Okay. All right. All right. So, Miss Polly, can you take the next question? I just got to step away for a quick minute. Miss Polly, are you on mute?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm
Can you
good.
take the next question?
Okay. So you asked me.
All right. Yeah,
Yes.
We're on
Yes.
question
So
number 3.
let me go over here. Let me. I was okay. I'm gonna go to it. I had multitasking. Sorry. So, um, do you consider dating outside of your race, religion, or culture? As women, do you guys see yourself dating outside of even just the Black community itself, American community? I think that if you're going to answer this question, I really want to know because I think there are a lot of women here in America who are Black American women who kind of don't. You hear them say, "I want a brother, I want a king." You hear them saying that, but they want, you know, this positive role model as Black males. And so my question is, if you would consider going outside of that realm yourself, or have you, or are you doing such?
Okay. All right. And so you can actually answer your own question.
Okay. So I will answer my question. So I did start a little bit of a new series that is kind of talking about me dating someone or talking to someone or getting to know someone outside of my America. So this gentleman I'm talking to now kind of is from Afghanistan. So that's a little bit different. Obviously, I'm poly over there. There's a lot of polygamists, but their culture is actually starting to transition to. I see a lot of polyandry people in their area now, which is very interesting, and that I believe has to do with a lot of globalization that's taking place. There's a lot more women who aren't getting married right now. They're going to school instead. So those things are changing in different cultures too. So I am considering it, and especially for myself, like I'm thinking about possibly dating someone who's a little bit more serious, not in the fun place of dating. And those particular people that you may want to meet who've been kind of focused on their careers and stuff like that. Not saying they're not in America, but I could easily find someone who would like to proceed in a more serious fashion within 6 months to a year in a culture like that where they decide to marry people within 6 months to a year because they're dating intentionally. So I would consider it. I am considering it, and I'm finding it rather interesting and exciting.
Got it. Okay. And then let's go to Lady E.
Um, I've dated outside of my race. I've actually been married outside of my race. My ex-husband is Hispanic, from Honduran descent. Um, One of my greatest relationships that I've ever experienced was with a Nigerian. I have dated men from Cameroon, but they all reside within the US. I've never actually like dated someone outside of US territory. Also with me being, from the Caribbean, I guess it's not necessarily like out of pocket for me. So experiencing different cultures, I am definitely open to that. If I so happen to fall in love and be married to someone that's of a different race or of a different culture, my hopes are, well, not hopes, but my requirements would be that I would still have to be able to maintain, some of the traditions from my culture. That's it.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you. All right. Miss Nebraska.
See, I told you I am shy.
You all right? You all right?
I would say first thing first, we have a lot of good comments in the chat that I think we should answer.
Yeah, I'm
But
gonna get to them. I'm gonna get to them.
what was the original question?
So the original question was, do you consider dating outside of your race, religion, and culture?
Yes, I have dated outside of my race before. Uh, Not overseas per se. I've dated those who were born here. Their parents are from overseas, but they were born here in the States. But I will always be open to it. Thank you, E. You're amazing as well. You look amazing as well. Thank you.
Okay. Were you going to continue elaborating, or were you done with that?
Oh no, I'm done.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
cool. Oh no, no worries, no worries. Okay, and then Miss Holly.
I've been in relationships with and dated men outside my race. Matter of fact, my ex-fiance was white, like white, like Anglo-Saxon white.
Mhm.
I don't really see it I don't see it as a huge problem for neither black women or black men. Dating is somewhat of a contact sport, and the more opportunities you have out there by not limiting yourself to just being black, that I mean, I don't know. Like I said before, I date people that I choose to date, and it doesn't have anything to do with their race. Now, with that being said, when you have the opposite sex being demeaned by men who choose to date outside their race, or women saying, well, we're defecting from black men. None of that. Why are you worried about that? Yes, there are plenty people out there that looks like you. I'm just saying, don't limit yourself. If your preference is to date black men, okay, date black men. But for me, it's just been a commonplace that I don't even question it no more. Plus, living down here in South Florida and Miami, like, it's just common because you have a lot more cultures coming in. So, like I said, do you, if you happy with it. And when I refer to that, unlike, getting out of the country, like I said, it ain't got nothing to do with sex tourism. I'm talking about actually finding love, being in a relationship, and getting married. So, like I said, I'm an equal opportunity dater.
All right, perfect. Locks keeper. What say you?
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, hey, I'm gonna go back when I was younger. My parents basically told me, you can date outside your race. That's totally fine, as long as they love the Lord. When I was younger, I was just like, sure, that's it. That's all the advice you're gonna give me for dating. Okay, I'm gonna try to run with that. All right. So that's when I started to like, okay, I'm just gonna look at what my surrounding area is because we didn't have, social media yet. We didn't have that yet. So basically, I was looking around. I was in Pittsburgh, and I was in the city. I was like nearby the homeless shelter. Like we're in the city, so it was pretty diverse. Um, and then I moved to Nyack, New York, and that was totally different because now I'm not in Pennsylvania. I am in New York, and New York is different. So I'm in there, and then luckily I went to a diverse school. So I had diverse friends. And so having friends, you kind of just learn more about them, and then you learn about the guys. You're just like, oh, these are not like half bad looking. Like, oh, they have kind of like a good heart. Maybe we'll see how that goes. Like, what kind of common like interests do we have besides race? Because now I'm just looking at if you have a good heart. And so in college, I did date outside my race, and he was Irish. And unfortunately, he was a bad soul, and he didn't do so good. Like he lived in Maine in a small town, and that's a different type of culture. Like I was from the city, and then I moved to like a bigger town, but yet it felt like we still had a lot of population. Like you're with people. If you're in a small town, it's a different vibe. It's a different vibe. So I had to navigate through that, and mostly like his family was navigating through that as well, because they're like, we don't see you too much in Maine, but now that people are migrating, now that people are kind of just like going to different places and everything like that, you see more people that is in your same race. Now, jumping in after college, I am now dating a Ukrainian man. And let me tell you, I did not know anything about Ukrainians at all. I'm not going to lie. They're near Russia, and all I know is Russia. So I didn't really know Ukrainians. And I was in Mount Kisco, he was in Mount Kisco, and he moved when he was 8 years old. And so he was in Yorktown. So like he was a Ukrainian family, they speak Ukrainian and all that. And we've been dating for 4 years, and we are in love. I love him so much. He is amazing. I have never met a man like him. He is so kind. He just showed me so much of the world with just like knowing him and his cultures and just learning about what it's like in Ukraine and all that. And that gave me more of a perspective. And then it comes with the family. My family, like I said, was more like, hey, date outside your race. His family were a little bit different. They were a little bit shocked. They're very shocked when they saw me. They're like, I never knew that he would bring this type of girl. And so they had to navigate through that as well. So that comes with some certain territories as well. So that's a little bit background of why I have dated outside my race. And so far, it's been good. It's been great. I'm in love. I can't wait to marry him. He is the one.
I did it again. I said, and I remember exactly what I said. I said, "Oh wow, shout out to Ukraine." That's what I said. All right. So Mrs. She said, so I know you've been married for a long time, but have you dated outside of your culture and race prior to you being married?
Oh man, I've been with this man since I was 20 years old. I was dating from kindergarten. We're not talking, sex, but I was one of them little girls growing up in New York City. Of course, New York is very cultured and eclectic, different
Right.
people around every corner. So it was an awesome dynamic. I've dated all different cultures,
Right.
um, African, different Caribbeans, Hispanic. Um, and I think just us being willing to learn another culture is very important when you're finding love. So if you're not willing to do that and you're stuck in your culture and are not willing to acquiesce to another's and be able to teach as well as be able to learn, it's going to be challenging. Even with religion, that's going to be challenging as well. I'm a biracial child. My mother's white, my father's black. So I wanted the blackest of the blackest coming from New York City. It just showed a certain
Yeah.
strength, a dominance that a man was going to be willing to lead me not off a cliff, but to a better life than what I came up in. A level of intelligence, a level of understanding. I think for me personally, I wouldn't date outside my race because I want to be able to understand fully, and with that I understand myself, the black side of myself, so much that it's easier for me to understand the dynamic of a black man, versus trying to acquiesce to another culture and dynamic outside of the United States, and growing up here stripped from our culture and our traditions. And my husband definitely have a similar background of, not having that information. So, finding each other and being secure in that, genuine human love was important. So, um, yeah, my children, love is love for me. Just wanting them to understand that it may become conflict and it's going to show true character with them if they're willing to push through that. So, be willing to learn and be willing to teach your mate, and if they're willing to do that, then I'm all for it.
Absolutely, I completely agree. All right, so I'm gonna take some time out to get into the comments. Then also I'm gonna address the super chats first. Super chats do jump the line. Also, want to shout out my man XL Pro for the Cash App. Thank you so much. So this first super chat, my man, the coach Andre Love Crossing Borders, American passports has access to 94% of the world. What's odd is 72% of Americans will live and die 50 miles from their birth hospital. Wow. All right. So the Mesh Monster, shout out to you. It's funny how the truth is called bashing. Okay. Again, my man Andre Love Crossing Borders with the 40,000 Colombian pesos. Great panel, beautiful sisters, beautiful smiles, beautiful opinions. Click that like button. Absolutely. Definitely make sure that you are liking this video. And any one of these ladies who are content creators, make sure that you are subscribing to their channels and share this video. Passport Bros created videos for other men to travel. Woman dipped into the comments and assumed that we were talking to them or sex. We were only talking to men. Oh, I do have to kind of back that statement there. Look, I do have to kind of back that statement. Now, I will say the majority of brothers who travel weren't even talking about the women in the States or Western women in general. I think that it's been a narrative that has been kind of spun out of control. But that's just my thoughts.
I mean, I partially agree with you on that. Like I said before, sex tourism, I'm not referring to people meeting and dating or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, like, I have a cousin and he's been going back and forth from the Dominican Republic to Brazil to Thailand. He's been doing that for years.
Oh, yeah.
For years. So it's not really like, in essence, that he's kind of right. It doesn't involve us. It only involves us when you have to direct any type of negative connotation to someone who ain't got nothing to do with how you choose to use your time. I think that's where it gets very complicated. Yes, have your panels, have this, but you also see people, it's like when there's like Black women are, getting the shitty end of the stick while you're exploiting foreign women. That's just my 2 cents. I mean, like I said before, most people, when they do these trips, it's for sex tourism. There are people meeting online on anywhere in the world. And there's, what I'm saying, like, let's just call a spade a spade. It's sex tourism. You don't have to throw it in our face, and you don't have to do that in lieu of getting to know or whatever you're trying to do with a non-Western woman. I think that's the biggest thing. Don't throw it back in our face if you haven't had good experiences with Black women.
So I agree somewhat. My only pushback is that it's been brought to, like, it was brought to men who travel attention that women, and I don't want to just say like Black women, but women of all ethnicities have kind of been. Oh, I'm hearing feedback, echo. Okay, let me try that again. What I was saying was that so I guess my pushback and men who do travel, their pushback is like that women of all ethnicities are pushing back, trying to have been like talking about the men. So the men have been kind of standing up and defending themselves, and I think that's where a lot of the disconnect is coming from. So it's like a bumping of heads, if you will, right? So
Absolutely.
I won't say, I'll never say that you're completely wrong, but I will say that, the men who travel, these are the things that they say in these groups, or they say to me directly.
I mean, but like I said before, this has been going on for years. It's been going on well before there was social media. And
That's
like,
true.
yeah, and so like I said before, like, do what you do. But I think once it's again those audiences who take it in a certain way. I mean, I've heard people on live saying like, oh, well, I only date, I go out of the country because I can't find no good black women, or I can't find a good woman, period. I don't get, like I said, go and do what you do. But the moment I get dragged into the conversation in general, a black woman, that's when it becomes an issue. We ain't got to enjoy. I could not tell you these YouTube channels where I found people talked about it, or an Instagram page or a TikTok page. I get screenshots and stuff like that, and we know it's a thing. So that's what I'm saying. Do what you do, boo boo. But it don't have to be on the backs of us, and that definitely doesn't have to be from a perspective where you're exploiting non-Western women. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, got it. All right, so let me just jump into some of these comments. I know some people have some questions. Culture Invasion Podcast, salute to you. Hearing
Oh,
another.
sorry guys. I'm sorry.
Okay. E Rosary, Passport Bros, Passport Bros. Baloo TV, salute. Knowledge and Relationships, my man M3 in the building, salute. Oh, missing the brown. Okay, I'm not gonna pull you guys' comments when you guys are on the panel. Culture Evasion, salute. Thanks for joining the show. Hit the like on the way in, absolutely. What the funk is this? What's up, Kings? Hey, what's up to you? Global Paper, Brazil or die. Charles Jones, chat room, what's up? Models and bottles for life. Yes. Let's see. Full house tonight. Yes, we do have a full panel. Garden scientist is in the building. All right. Whoa, wait a minute. I just jumped. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. I was
This
gonna
is
say why
this
you
is
were
about to get spicy. Okay,
Okay.
so somebody's echoing really, really bad. Is that you, Polly? Come on, co-host. What we doing, man? This panel looking fire tonight. Yes, we got some beautiful melanin in the building, man. 16 watches, 16 likes. Oh, I think we better be well past that. We better be well past that. Hulk smash
We're
that
at
like button.
39.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, we need to get that up to 100.
Definitely.
Yes. Definitely subscribe to my co-host channel, Miss Polly. Hey Rosary, I'm gonna send you Lady E's Instagram. If did you send it to him already? Oh no.
Uh, I did post it in the chat, but I also did post it in the panel chat. So if you want to share it, that is perfectly fine.
Hold on. Hey Rosary, this is her Instagram. Post that link when you have a moment, please. Let's see. All right, let me get to some of these questions so I can continue to because I know some people had some questions for you ladies.
So Stallion made a comment in the chat, said at the end of the day, women in the Matrix should not be triggered when guys show off in their
Hold on,
country.
hold on. I'm gonna pull that up. I just want to go like in I want to get to this one first. So I guess this is for you, Locks Keeper. Can you help us get our hair back to the natural state?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And, I don't know if it's a rhetorical question, but it all starts with you.
I think he was being. I think it was tongue in cheek, but I think he like meant some seriousness in that.
Okay. Yeah, so you know, I would think that I did my research, and by the looks of it, my mom, she did pour my hair like 2 times, and then she like read something that the chemicals that they were using was really bad for your hair. And I saw around me that the most of the black women or black girls at the time were like, changing their hair and putting braids in and all that stuff. And the worrisome of my mom was just like, it's just chemically bad. I don't know. It's just not, you shouldn't be put on your head, and you're young and you're still growing. So I was just like, okay. And then so dreadlocks taught me that I can just, wash my hair, water it, maintain it, and then oil. Oil is king. Oil is natural. Oil has so many good stuff for you, and there's no chemicals, and all it will do for you is just all the goodness. I usually did coconut oil. Coconut oil is really good, but it's just not just like you buy just coconut oil. You got to buy organic. You got to buy all natural, because they're using the best thing for it, because the way that it's grown, you can't put any chemical fertilization because it can be absorbed. It is just like bigger things that is systematic in America, where there's a lot of shortcuts into like making your hair straight, and it's just chemically really bad, and it's like you won't see it early life, you will see it later life if you keep on doing it constantly. So that's why I feel like sometimes it's good to just wear your natural curls for just a little bit, and just like let them breathe and like drink lots of water, and then oil your hair, and just like really look at the ingredients you're using for shampoo as well, and how you moisturize. It's huge, because your hair can grow healthy. I mean, I've been maintaining my hair for 17 years, and I've used, especially in the last 10 years, I started to use other companies products, and then I realized that half of them were using really bad restricted chemicals, and in Europe it's actually banned. Most of like these chemicals are banned in Europe, but in the United States they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna make it either way, we're just gonna say restrict it. So that helps. And 100% your hair will grow. And there is some people that can't grow their hair, and I met people that have not grown their hair, and they are super confident in it, and they rock it, and they live by it. And honestly, it's inspirational. It made me love my hair even more, and it made me be like, hey, if that ever was the case with me, I have to be confident in my own skin. Yeah, it all starts with you. And also, if you really want to know tips and you really want to go in the DMs, just go on Instagram, the Locks Keeper, and I am open to chat about it.
Just the hair, fellas. Just the hair. She's all right. All right. So, question for classy young men. So he says, why do we assume women from other countries are pros? And then he follows up with saying they can have an education and they can earn money. And this is for anyone who wants to respond to that. And if you don't want to respond to it, you could, keep it moving.
It's sex tourism. That's what it is. If you was really open,
I was trying not to laugh, but I had a feeling you were just gonna say something like that.
I mean, we don't see.
Well, I will say, I will say this though. I will say that like there's some that strictly go for the woman, but the majority like go like to date, and there are some that get married or in long-term relationships though.
Agreed. But when you have spectacles, and I think we're every time we get on a particular type of conversation that deals with Black people, you always have to be mindful the minority of what we're seeing collectively is the actual minority of what is actually going on. So I will say that. And I'm not, hey, there's been plenty men that have gone out. They've gone to the Philippines. They've gone to Thailand. They've gone to foreign countries and they have fallen in love and getting married. I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm talking about those men who make it known that they only going for sex tourism. I stand like I get it, but I stand by that. Now I'm not, like I said before, it could be the minority being glorified.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could just be really that's all you really want to do. But like again, it's the pomp and circumstance that I think that bothers some women, because for me, I don't care. Go do you. Go gallivant, go find your love. Like it, that part does not bother me at all. It's the, like I said, having to use black women as a reason why they're going overseas, while exploiting some of the women that they deal with.
I
Okay.
would,
Yeah.
I would just add. You see how it feels. I
What you
mean,
talking about? What?
men have to deal with that all the time. Like always going to the negative. We know it happens, but like you said, it's a small percentage, just like it's a small percentage of passport brothers in the first place. It's not on
Right.
a grand scale, but you know, I mean, I'm 46 years old, and all I've seen is man blaming and shaming, and beat up on the man. They can't do nothing right. So when we have these topics, it's like the first thing we go to is the negative. All of them are not going out there to get prostitutes. Some of them are really going out there to look for love because they can't find it here, because modern day women don't want to be in a traditional role. They don't want to take care of their kids. They're handing them over to social services. They want to be superior. They want to take control of everything. So this is what they're experiencing. And when they complain and gripe, women don't like it. We just don't like it. Y'all can't say nothing bad about us because we are the shit. We are the prize. Pardon my French.
You good?
Um, and that's just the mentality here now. So I see why they're running away. A lot of us don't even like our family, we don't have many traditions and such, so they're looking for a quality person that's going to get on board with their purpose. And if they can't find it here, by all means, take your behind with your passport and go and enjoy life and find you some love somewhere else. The women are doing it too, because they've been going to find their groove and getting their groove back when Stella was hollering. So it's
Exactly.
always been a thing.
I'm
I'm just saying, I just noticed that the women gripe, they don't like it. But I mean, I've been listening to women complain about men and call them on their stuff forever. So
Right.
when men turn around and complain that women are not doing what they need them to do in order to get married, they don't like it. They're not going to change the behavior. They're just going to complain or shame or, put them in a position like they're wrong. And I'm just not there. I grew up with a lot of brothers, and they're very particular about the women that they chose to be their wives, and they acquiesced it. And a lot of them are educated, and however they chose to make their decision. But for us to sit back and throw all this shade on them is it's unnecessary. Some are out there doing that, but I really don't think it's the large majority. And the passport brothers, such as Kings and Dreams and his crew, I don't think they're out there just using up prostitutes.
I mean, but
No,
I
no. I
listen,
mean,
I don't I give I'm a fool. You gonna get this heat versus whether you're a man or a woman. For women, yeah, you have these women that go down Jamaica to get their groove back. You got them going to Italy. They've been doing that for years. Like they got a whole website dedicated
Portugal,
for Portugal.
Chile.
Right.
Oh,
So
I know
That's
where
all
they
I'm
at.
saying. I know,
yeah,
but we're
but
gonna
that's what I'm
point out
saying.
the men. I haven't heard you point out the women. That's all I'm saying. Now, in the
Oh
same
no,
breath
and
as you pointing out the men, you could say, yeah, the girls is out there doing it too, because they are. I got a lot of
I
sisters who got passports and they've been going to get their backs thrown out, and they
Well,
proud
I
of it.
actually
So,
did say
you
that.
know,
I actually did say that.
you did
Actually,
okay.
yeah, I did.
Shout
I
out,
was like, it's nothing new.
cool.
White men, white women, black men, black women as well. I said that in the beginning. So, like, I think again, where the pomp and circumstance is coming from is from a small group of people, both men doing the exploiting and then women complaining about it.
All right. All right. So let me get to.
Oh, can I run my piece real quick? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Sorry, I was gonna
No,
get to the
I
super
just want to say
chat.
something to you.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry, super chat. We love you, but this is why I was going to say.
You
Because a lot of
echoing
people
by the
like
way.
there's different people. No, okay, I'm sorry. But I will try to fix that in a minute here. But definitely, I will say I think for the most part, it's like you said, it's a small group of people. There's black women who are rebuttaling to the men who are saying I'm going out here, and it maybe not be the right kind of man who's going out here. It's not the ones who are like King and Dreams and in the passport bros that they're trying to promote positivity, who are the ones who are trying to go out here, maybe just have a good time. They do find a wife or something. But there are some instances where the people who are doing the wrong things are the ones who get to shine, the ones who are trying to show everybody how they can get some ass outside of the country. And that's what it is. And so there's a little bit of both, but we see all the bad things. And that's the issue, is that we don't want to promote, especially as black people, we always are shining on the bad stuff. We always shine on the bad stuff. We're not trying. And so the ones who are trying to show some positivity, they don't get the shine. And so these where these issues come up. Like you said, on both sides, we do wrong. But why aren't we trying to promote the stuff that is positive about it? Getting to know other people from different cultures is awesome. Getting to, find a love of your life like Locks, that's amazing. But we don't shine on that. We shine on the guy or the woman going down there riding the horses in Jamaica. She ain't just riding horses. And then you finding the man who's down there strolling women through the house like it's a parade. So no, we got to stop shining it as a people. We have to stop shining on stuff that's negative. Say ha ha ha, nanny boo boo, look at me, I'm doing you dirty. Let's stop doing that to each other, because we just look bad as a people. We look bad as a people. I don't want to look bad as a people, So I just want to leave that in there, and I'm gonna fix my echo.
Number 3. I swear I'm not doing it anymore. Okay. So does anyone else have any more feedback on that, or can I continue going to the super chat?
I like to say just one little thing.
Sure,
I
sure.
guess with me having both sides of my family from the Caribbean, we're first generation immigrants. Just based off of personal experience, when I do or when I am in the process of getting to know someone and I elaborate on the cultural background, like a lot of the times I hear from men, and like I said, this is based off of personal experience, that, oh, I hear Caribbean women are freaks, or do you know voodoo? And there's so much, and it's like there's so much negative connotation,
Well, yeah,
that
that's
we're freaks and we're we perform witchcraft, that it's, at this point in time, for me, it's insulting.
that's true. That's true. That's true. I mean, yeah, like they automatically assume, oh, Bob Marley. I mean, if I did, but I mean,
Everybody
like
smokes
I'm not
weed.
gonna, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like they just automatically assume. But yeah, I get it, because I think like any country in the Caribbean, like you say West Indian, they automatically.
They say
I don't.
Jamaica. They ask me
Yeah,
if I speak Jamaican. They ask me if I make jerk chicken. All of these things that's related to Jamaican descent. And it's like, yo, wait a minute. There's like a whole bunch of other islands in the Caribbean. And even though we might be connected to one another, we're still culturally different.
right. That's true. That's true. Does anyone have anything else to add? Okay, cool. All right, so Andre says, I knew that energy was going to come out. Oh, no, wait. It was another one he posted. My bad, Dre. This one. This is the one. Women statistically do more ex tourism being banned from countries, brag about it in movies, books. Passport sellers talk as much as men. Hmm. Any feedback from that?
I don't know about that, but I mean, they made the movie Still Got a Groove Back. That's the only thing I remember. And there used to be a reality show about women going over to Italy. Like I said before, everybody does it. It ain't nothing new. Again,
Yeah.
I guess it's the bravado and the bashing of Black women that we don't have to do. Because again, you know, it's not just us seeing it, it's everybody seeing it. Just like Lady E said, you know, because she's from the Caribbean, already people have this assumption that she does these things, and that's nowhere near the source. So again, I said before, we all been doing it. But when again it comes down on the backs of Black women by shaming, demeaning, whatever the case may be, because there's content out there that does that. I don't agree with that. And I don't agree with it, period.
I'll just say one thing. For those who are wondering, voodoo is not about casting spells in a negative format on somebody you dislike. Voodoo is about connecting with your ancestors. And there's definitely a misinterpretation in Western culture about what voodoo actually is.
Hmm. Gotcha. Shout out to my man Taylor Made Dreams, the general, for the super chat. Definitely appreciate you on that. Let's see here. Andre again says American women don't want to hear about us that are happily married to educated, successful, beautiful, traditional women outside of the states. You assume also. Yeah, I
I
mean,
think so. I want to speak this up, and I know I might be echoing, but Andre,
up you froze.
that sounds ridiculous.
Riley,
That sounds
Polly,
ridiculous.
Polly, you got to start over. You got to start over. You froze.
Oh, I said I think it's ridiculous that some men, and this is for Andre, think that women or Black American or Western women are so upset by you finding happiness. I think that just like the same for you guys, there are some women who are sad and bitter because they can't find a man and they can't find love and they can't try and find happiness. And those women screaming from the top of the buildings. The ones who are fine and okay, we don't have nothing to say. So we're not, you don't see us on TikTok, you don't see us on Instagram, you don't see us talking like that. And so you got to take that into consideration. We're not unhappy for people finding love other places. And that's why I pulled this panel together. We are Black American women and some who are not even, maybe not even born here, but who live here. And I think what the issue is that there are a small group, but they're getting highlighted, who are saying Black women are not valuable here. And I'm saying maybe you just didn't find.
No, he's married, Miss Polly.
And so that
oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying him specifically. So it wasn't directly him, but I'm just saying men in general who have the issue, it's probably because they just haven't found it, and they're speaking out too. So we have the people who are sad, yelling from the rooftops, and everybody else is fine. I think that's what's going on.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna get to this super chat. Then I'm gonna go back into the questions. Shout out to Stallion. He says Kings and Dreams, great topic and panel. Yes, definitely. Salute to my co-host as well, Miss Polly, and all the ladies on the panel. All right, so let's get back to the questions here. We are on question number 4. Question number 4 is why do you think black women are bothered by the passport bros? And Miss Polly, you kind of just alluded to it, but I know that last time, like I started with you, so let me start with you, Nikki, Mrs. She said.
Oh man, I would say they don't like what they're hearing because the tables have turned. There's been many of years of man bashing, man shaming, putting all their dirt to the forefront. Women have, the okay on all kinds of public talk shows and in movies, just all of the negative, all of the fear promoted, hate men. I've seen an abundance of it just growing up with friends, the way we spoke, in groups as a collective, in some areas. And I had different cliques of areas. So, it's nothing new. Um, oh man. So I mean it doesn't taste good for people to constructively criticize you, but I don't hear the men saying they don't need women. I hear the women promote that a lot. I hear them say, I want a black man. He has to be this, be that. But they will say in the same breath, I don't need a man. I rarely hear the men say that. The men are speaking up because they need us. They want us, and they're expressing that they need us to change some of the behaviors that we are exhibiting to them. That this is what they're receiving, and if not, they're going to go somewhere and get it out elsewhere. And that's just what it is. I just don't think we like constructive criticism. I don't like to be told I did something wrong or I need to change my behavior in any kind of way. I don't like it, so it's kind of hard to take that medicine. It is what it is.
Gotcha. So, I'm sorry. So, did I ask the wrong question, Miss Polly? Because I thought we were on question 4. Oh, okay. So I was right. Yes. Just give me a thumbs up if I'm right. I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think you did one, two, three
Oh,
questions. No? Oh,
whoops, my bad. Hold on. Okay, so we're on question 6.
I thought we on number 6. I thought you asked that already.
I did not ask that. Nah, because I
Okay, I
actually
take it
take
back.
over. I did question 3.
Oh, okay. And then I did number 5 because I clearly can't count. Okay, it's fine.
So you skipped 4. So I was right. Okay, so we gonna get it together. So we gonna do 4 and then 6.
And no
Yes.
one realized that even happened.
It's all good. Okay. All right, Locks Keeper, it's on you.
Yeah, so I think, some black women could be a little razzled at the fact that black men are, finding love elsewhere overseas. And some men are doing it for, love, and they want the commitment and they want that traditionalist woman. And I feel like through time in the past, especially when there was war, when the war started to happen, the men had to leave and the women had to work. And I feel as though because we started evolving, women, especially in America, had to work more. And some cultures even put the pressure on the children, especially immigrant families coming in. They put the pressure, some of them, to find jobs, to be a doctor, some good job in America that is going to give them wealth and independency. And I feel like most women in America are working. I mean, I know when I was growing up in my household, my mom was just like, "You're working." And that was like 15 years old. And then she said, once you're in high school, once you start looking for, if you want to go to college, you can go to college if you want, or you can just go ahead and work. Go ahead and work. Or if you're lucky, you might find a man to get married. You might get married. And so I was just like, man, I have like 3 options, I guess. And I'm like, well, let me just go to college because I don't have the man right now and I don't even know how to date. I don't even know how that looks like. I know how to cook because you taught me, but once I went to college, I had 4 years of cafeteria, and it's not like I was, grasping that household that maybe some men would love and would want to have. and some other cultures instilled that in them, and then so they're ready for that. So I feel like the modern woman in America is working, and so that's prolonging some love. I mean, most of my girlfriends are single and they're working, and but they're trying to find men in the mix of that, and they're just, some of them are looking in the wrong places, some of them are looking at those places, some people are traveling, you know. The dating world has changed because of social media. You have a lot more options out there. And let me tell you, when I found my Ukrainian king, that was not on social media, but it was just by the grace of the wind. To be honest, I went in, I met a random person on a bar, and he was the bartender. We're like chit chatting and all stuff and seeking a friendship. And he's like, "Hey, you can come hang out with one of my friends." And so I was like, "Okay, sure, I'll come hang out with one of your friends." You know, this is strange. I was very, yes, I had like very, when I was young, I was just like free spirited. So I was just like meeting people because I just met so many different people. So I was just very curious about people's stories. And so I would never forget, but he just made me laugh. I didn't even see him. I didn't even see his face. He just went in the car. He just started talking. And I was just like, this guy is hilarious. And then when I got into the house, I saw him. I was like, this man is tall. He is good looking. I was like, I don't know if he, and in the back of my mind, I was just like, I don't know if he would be interested in me because I am a biracial woman. Like, I don't know. Like, if he, that's like my first thought. Unfortunately, that's my first thought. And so with that, I was just like, well, let's just keep on chatting. And the chemistry was just so alive and well. And we just hit it off ever since. And he's my best friend. But that just happened. Now it's different because my girlfriends are starting to like, they want to find their man, they want to find their mates. And so I see that. And then now I just watch like TV shows, reality shows, like dating shows, Married at First Sight, 90 Day Fiance. And I'm just like seeing these people and they're like older than me trying to find their love, but they chose to work. And so that kind of like plays a factor. And I started to see that more of some women. So it could bother some single women because they're like, oh man, like maybe I don't have these traits that maybe a man that I'm looking for that is a king and all this such. And then like, oh no, I want this woman because she's a traditionalist. And it's hard. I can see why it could be hard and why some women could be very sensitive about it.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And then Miss Holly.
I mean, when I hear stuff like that, that's when I hear it on either side, it's a lack of accountability, right? I think as women, there isn't that lack of accountability. Like, hey, what am I doing wrong? Hey, where am I attracting men from? Hey, what the hell is going on with me? And I think that, like I said, collectively, we do not hold ourselves accountable and responsible that got us to that mindset. Like, okay, you say men ain't shit. Okay, well, why do you have that rhetoric? Why do you say that? Oh, it's because maybe the ones you've been messing with ain't shit and ain't worth your time. So I think the when you hear these women that say men, I don't need no man, I don't want no man, I don't need no man, those are people that, they're not taking accountability for their previous history with men, and did they learn anything? That's what I think. That's my 2 cents.
Okay. All right. And let's go to Lady E.
Okay. Do I think that Black women are bothered by passport bros? To be honest, I think it's really a really small percentage. My opinion, why it's a small percentage. When you Google passport bros, um, it's really only limited to content from YouTube. This is not a broad subject that you would see in Black magazines or Black media. Like I said, Passport Bro was definitely something new to me within the past couple of months. Like I didn't even understand what it meant. Um, and that's why I said, in my opinion, if you have, especially living in the US, if you have an issue meeting someone that you can connect with, um, I think you have to reflect and look at yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. What is it about me? If you keep getting into these relationships to where, it's not working out, or this person is not you, like really look at yourself. Like, what can I do to make myself a better person? How can I make myself have the capability of being able to communicate, to get along with someone? Because usually those people who have that negative outlook on people of their own culture at that, um, usually they don't have friends. Usually, and if they do have friends, they're not real friends. They have friends that are not telling them the truth. They don't have friends who are real to them. They typically have friends that are looking for, that are the friends that agree with everything that they say, the friends that are here for the good times, and not necessarily the friends that are here for the bad times, the friends that don't keep it real. And that's my opinion.
All right. All right. So he was able to find your Instagram, by the way. All right. Miss Nebraska.
I would say from what I've seen on social media, Black women, the majority of Black women are not bothered by passport bros going overseas to find love. I'm still confused on why the debate is what it is and why people are arguing and fighting in the chat. The chat right now is lit. It's a lot of gentlemen in here that have comments of one of the ladies that have spoken earlier, but I don't understand the undertones and the hateful comments. Like I don't get it, but that's just me. Earlier, someone said that women all have always worked. In the 1800s, early 1900s, most women were not working. They were at home tending to their kids and their husbands and their families. So I just wanted to put that in there.
Were they not scrubbing and taking care of white people's children and taking care of their homes still?
Well, yeah, that's what I said. I said they were taking care of their children, families, but as far as work, going outside of the home to clock in and clock out, they weren't doing that.
Yeah, there wasn't per se a clock, but they were going. They were going with their kids in
Yeah,
tow
they
to
were
take care of
working as
white
far
people's homes. They were taking care of. They were working. There was definitely some people working because slavery was still in existence. Just because we were free, many of us weren't free, and we had to find our way. So some women had to leave the home and go work and raise their families and cook and maintain the home. It really was. We're not going to sit here and say women didn't work because they did. We
well,
can
I'll
debate
say
on that all day.
the majority of women in that time frame were not leaving the home and their children to go work. They were
The
taking care
white
of them.
women, the white
Yeah,
women.
it was the white women. I mean,
We black women were working.
yeah.
Oh no.
And 9 times out of 10
Well,
as domestic help.
I'll stand to correct. So my grandmothers and my great grandmothers and great grandmothers, they didn't have to
Shout
work.
out to your
They stayed
family.
home and
I
they
Awesome.
know that's
raised.
right.
Thank
Yeah,
you. They
well,
raised their kids and
you're
took care of
lucky.
their husbands.
They still had to do that, but they still had to go work. You know what I mean? They still had to take care of home. So, you know, shout out to your family for paving the
Thank
way and
you.
the women not being able having to work.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and also I think modern history now, I mean with American women now that we like our ancestors had to go through that, slavery is no joke. and they had to do that. And, you know, some of them have kids and all in the mix of that. And now stepping into like getting and trying to get in corporations and stuff and try to make a living and trying to do that was even just a hurdle itself as well. Especially when I had dreadlocks, I was like worried about like working in certain jobs because I felt like maybe my hair was too wild, maybe it was not up to standard, you know. And so that was kind of in the back of my mind. It's just like now I have to worry about if I'm going to get a job because of like the skin of my the color of my skin. So it's just like certain women, certain cultures do have that freedom to have like not work at all. I mean, my mom doesn't work now. My dad provides because he, you know, he's a pastor and he's like, God bless him. And my mom doesn't work now. She's just living her dreams, doing crafts and crocheting and knitting and all that stuff. And she had 6 kids. She adopted 4 and she had 2. And so I was just like thinking, I'm just like, in the modern world now, like with my girlfriends, just my girlfriends, like we're 27, um, they're working, you know, and they're choosing to work. And one of them have a successful job in New York City, and she's African American, and she's doing it. So I feel like it's going to prolong her dating experience and all that, and it may be because she has to work on top of that, but then she has to find the right places versus if, you know, you don't work as much. And I don't know, I guess, yeah, it's a little bit different with different cultures and how they were raised in the dating sense.
Gotcha. All right, so let's go to Miss Polly, and then after Miss Polly, I will introduce our last panelist. All right, so Miss Polly, your thoughts?
I mean, like I said, I don't think it really harms anybody on it that someone's going out and finding love or finding what they, you know, feel really close to. I don't think that's a problem with that. But I mean, are they bothered by it? Some people may be bothered by it, and like we keep going back to this. I think we're kind of, not us as people, but I keep seeing kind of be overlooked. Anybody who feels attacked in any manner, regardless if it's always happening, how does it feel? You know, welcome to the group. I always say that welcome to the group when someone realizes that you're not the only one experiencing something. It's welcome to the group. Yes, you know, it's still, you feel attacked if someone tells you, hey, you guys over there in the West, you guys suck. Basically, it's not even like, hey, you guys need to work on it. You're not doing well. Let's have a conversation. It's more like, hey, you suck, and we're gonna find something better. If anyone said that to you, you would be not happy and feel some kind of way. And so I'm not saying it's not needed to be said. I'm not saying it should, but the way you say things matters, and are very nasty and ugly with what they say on lives, on social media. And it can be ugly. And that goes the same way for women who can be extremely nasty and ugly the same way. And we don't want that, you know, to take over everything, but it does happen. So I can understand why some Black women are highly offended and then go on defense and go on to these rampages of calling names and saying, you know, all this stuff. But I want, from my opinion, it's both sides. There are some people going there for the wrong reasons, and there's some people going there for the right reasons, and that's it. It's like that's where that's what it is. Some are going for the right reasons, some are going for wrong reasons, and that's basically what it is. So yeah, I'm right there.
Okay, gotcha. So I just want to introduce our new panelist. Oh, hold on. I did it for you. Don't worry. Oh, wait. Hold on. Oh, you clicked it.
Did you do it?
Hold on.
Where they at?
Okay, there it is. Okay. All right. So, just want to introduce our newest panelist, Brandy Renee. So if you could just give a brief introduction about yourself, and if you do have um, a YouTube channel or Instagram, let the people know where they can find you. And then after that, I will ask you the questions so that this way you can keep up with the conversation.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. Hey, ladies. Hey, King. Yes, I am Brandy Renee on Instagram. It's Brandy Renee on all my social medias. I am a 46-year-old retired military veteran and mother
Thank
of
you for
two
your
20.
service.
You're welcome. Mother of two daughters who are in their 20s. So, conversations like this are very important to me because I feel like it bridges kind of my generation and theirs as we have discussions about dating, love, and all of that. And I am, as of lately doing a lot of social media influencer, being a pro aging influencer for that grown and sexy market for women over 40. So, yeah.
Okay, all right. So the question where we were at is that why do you think um black women are bothered by passport bros?
Oh, good question. Um, I think from what I hear, it's not, for me, I personally believe do you if that's what you feel like you have to do, as long as you're not doing it out of spite or doing it out of being hurt. But on the same token, that's why I think if black women tend to be upset about it, that's probably why. I think it's more of a feeling of why are you leaving and not stepping up or taking the opportunity to look at what's at home without just having a conversation. I think a lot of it would probably be uh, easier to understand and comprehend if you just had the conversation. And I have heard a lot of black men say the reason that they do leave is because of the experiences that they've had with black women. Personally, I just feel like they've probably been in the wrong circles around the wrong women, but that's my opinion.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much. So while you're there, let's start with you. So we are going to go to question 6, Miss Paula. We are at question 6. I'm only teasing, but so the question is, do you think it would benefit woman to look for love in other places also? So basically, do you think that it would benefit women to look for love outside of the United States as well?
I don't. I think it's a lot of amazing American black men here. So, and I'm glad that I was asked to be on the panel because even though that's the title of Passport Sisters, I just feel like it's just some amazing black American men. I don't necessarily feel like there's a need to when I travel. I'd prefer to travel with my black man who is stateside with me overseas instead of going to find one. That's just me. And it's not for any other reason than because I've not had some of the experiences. Quick backstory: I was married from 19 years old to 40. So I'm in this second phase of my life. And, yeah, would it be easier, I guess, if you would? Or I wouldn't even say easy. I have the means and the opportunity. Just because I do don't mean that I want to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, understood. All right. And then we are going to go with Mrs. She Said.
Repeat the question for me, sir.
Yeah, no worries. All right. So the question is, do you think that it would benefit women to look for love in other places outside of the West?
Um, I mean, that's subjective. A person looking for love has to do a lot of self-reflecting, and being aware of who they are and what they're willing to give in order to get what they want. And that's just anybody. So, If you can't find it here and you're going overseas, more power to you. Be safe, and still in all, with love, you got to be willing to give something.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay, and then let's go with Locks Keeper.
Yeah, so I mean, benefits, I don't know. Yeah, I think they will benefit, but then also it doesn't really matter what race you go to as long as like if you just keep an open mind. Because you might find a black man, you might find a white man, you might find an Asian man, you might find a Native American. So with that, it's kind of like beneficial to open your mind to other cultures. I think through friendships that helped a lot, and it gave me a lot of understanding about other cultures. I am I like literally in a relationship for 4 years to a Ukrainian man, and let me tell you, he changed my mind on a lot of things. He opened my mind to a lot of things as well, and I opened his mind as well because he's learning my culture as well through my family. And let me tell you, it's two different worlds. I mean, my mom, she hated vegetables. She didn't want anything to do with it. So we had like, I know. I'm just like, okay, mom. And she's the one that fed us for 18 years.
Eat
And
your
then,
greens.
yeah, seriously. That's why I'm like, just please eat them, please. They're good for you. They give us oxygen. They are good. So, regardless to say, his mom, his grandma, like they lived in Ukraine and during the Soviet Union. And so their food selection was different from American selection. So they had to use different recipes, a lot of soups, a lot of ferments, a lot of definitely vegetables and produce and wheat and definitely grain as well. So when I went to their household, they had their Ukrainian food, their Ukrainian way. The way that they even eat it, they had a tradition in that. And so through that, I started to learn that. I was very, very hesitant because American palate is way different than Ukrainians. They eat a lot of meat, they eat a lot of fat, and a little vodka shot on the side of that. So basically, yeah, I learned a lot of eat and drink at the same time, and it's different from my culture and my palate. And so I was just like, let me try it out of respect. My parents said that other households, even in America, there's like different people living in America, and they're bringing their own cultures as well. So it's just best to respect them and to absorb the information. So I just learned that way, and I'm learning Ukrainian. I can say some words. I surprise them when I say them too, and it's very amazing. And also when I got my eyes wide open is when the war started. And the war has been starting for years. And they were the ones that were telling me the rich history of it. And so that's when I was just like, wow, I'm actually getting from Ukrainian rather than someone in America that's just pissed because they're doing this and that. So
Right.
through
You're
that,
getting
I
it
just saw
direct
a
from the
lot.
source.
Yes, direct from the source.
Got it.
Yeah, so yeah,
Understood.
I feel like it's
Understood.
beneficial.
Understood. All right. Miss Holly.
So at the end of the day, date, marry whoever you want to. Myself, I'm an equal opportunity dater. I've been like that just based the proximity. However, when I hear Black women, for example, talking about divesting from Black men, their whole purpose is all jacked up. So I say do whatever you want to, but again, you don't have to bash, like in this case, you don't have to bash Black men just to say you want to date outside of your race. Now that I definitely don't I don't agree on either side. So it goes both ways.
Got it. All right. Let's see. Okay, then we got Lady E.
In questions, do we think it would benefit women to look for love in other places? Usually, I would say my answer is no. When you think about America, America is a melting pot where you have a lot of different cultures, so you can experience a lot of different cultures here. Um, like I said before, I think it's kind of weird that if you can't find anyone in America that you can connect with, and you have to go outside to a different country or to Western culture, and you have to bash Western culture. Um, I think there's definitely a lot of self reflecting that you have to do, because even though you may find love in a different culture, at the end of the day, if you're still living here or you find that significant other in a different culture and you bring them back to America, you still have to work and you still have to be able to get along with the people in your own culture. So for me, like I said, that's weird, but to each their own. If a woman or a man is wanting to look outside of the United States or North America or even South America at that to find love, definitely look within yourself. Um, I would say also definitely get some counseling on top of that before you even leave. Culture shock is definitely a big thing. We don't really talk about it much. I've experienced culture shock here in America, and it was kind of difficult for me to deal with, but I had to learn and adapt, to each their own. So overall, usually the answer is no for me. There's no issue for man or woman looking for love in different places, especially if your social life or work life or even social media life kind of carries you to connect with someone else. Now, though, like I said, the only pushback for me is if you have this negative connotation against your own culture, then I feel like there's a little bit more soul searching that needs to be done. That's it.
All right. Miss Nebraska.
Like I said earlier, I have zero issue with passport brothers going overseas. I have no issue at all with it. But I don't. I think whatever you choose, whoever you choose to love, wherever you choose to go for love, make that your decision. I don't think you need to speak negatively about anybody else of the decision that you make. And that's it.
Okay. All right. Miss Polly.
Okay. Yeah, I think it could be valuable to just expand, for women to expand themselves. That's just really anybody. I think it just applies to everybody. In the short of it, being able to expand who you are, find out what's going on around you, it just makes you a better person. How do you know what you want, need, and would love to have if you've never experienced everything? I mean, not you can experience everything, but as much as possible, you can make a better decision when you have more information. So yeah, that's a short end of that. And I know there's a few panelists that have to go off because I know they had a limited time with us. So I appreciate them coming in and saying their piece and giving their view on it. I thought it was very, very important for different kinds of Black women to come in one space and talk, and they're not all loud and yelling at each other, and we're able to convey information. So that was really important to me. And these women are very, very different. So please go ahead and subscribe to their channels. Check them out. Like I said, we're different ages, different backgrounds, lovely ladies who have lots to say, and they're just well-rounded, really. So if you haven't got a chance, please subscribe to them and check them out.
Okay. All right. So is anyone on a time constraint right now? Because we have two more questions.
You know, I
Yes.
feel like I owe it to the panel to at least stay on since I came late. So I
All right.
don't mind.
All right. So we all good? We can knock out these last two questions. Okay. All right. I know some other people have some questions in the chat, but whoever can stay after at least Miss Polly's last two questions, then we'll just go to the chat. But all right. So next question is um um is there what is the issue with Western women having liberties? And we will start with, you know what? Let's go backwards again. I'm gonna go with you. All right, let's go, Brandy Renee.
Um, okay. So you said what's the problem with black women having, do you mean like sexual liberation or
Uh this is Miss Polly, you may need to expound on this one, but I'm assuming that that may be part of that question.
um
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. I put there's liberties like just having more freedoms and liberties than anywhere else in the world. Like we're able to like be half naked and run around. We can say what we want. Kind of, we have the same liberties as men, basically.
and you're asking what the problem is with that, or is it a problem?
Yes, correct.
Correct.
Um, uh, okay, guys, don't get on me about this because I think I'm probably the oldest one on the panel at 46. I'm extremely traditional, and so I guess I don't think anything is wrong with it, and I love when I see it. I love women empowerment. However, that um, I guess I just think that there should be a level of almost, I want to say, modesty in a sense of, say for instance, what I do even with being an influencer, right? If I'm asked to do something or wear a gown or something, right? I'll show leg, but I won't show what's up top. Or you know what I mean? I think there needs to be balance. I think there's a level for me of and how I raise my daughters of um, something to be said about femininity, something to be said about how you dress, what you show, what you don't. And not to say that it has to be this covered up, buttoned up kind of thing, but I just I think it's good that we have the opportunity, but once again, just because you can doesn't always mean you should. And I'll leave it.
Mm, yep, agreed. Okay. All right, so let's get to so I'm just gonna jump the line here. So let's go to Nikki, Mrs. She Said. So let's get your thoughts on this question and then your final thoughts because I know you gotta take off.
This was question 8. Traditional women dying out worldwide.
Uh actually 7.
Okay. What is the issue
Yeah,
with Western
yeah,
women
yeah.
having more liberties?
Yep, yeah. So 8 is the last one.
They're taken advantage of. Let's just say that. I think one isn't aware of the privileges that they have because they have them. Hmm. I think we have a lot of liberties. I think they're overlooked because women are more concerned about the equalities between men and women in this here society. But I think there's been a lot of pavement done. Women have stomped the ground and made their way, and have become very successful. Um, and I think with that comes a dominating attitude and a disrespect and a level of ungratefulness to men. in my opinion. Um, they deserve the liberties. I just think, it should be considered. They should understand the privileges that we do have as women because we have a lot in abundance. And I constantly hear the screaming of equality that women want, but we have the majority of the privileges, ladies. I actually did a whole show on it. And if you want to know about them and you're not aware of them, please go check my show out. I'll premiere it again soon, and we can discuss it at a later time. But there's a lot of liberties, and women are absolutely taking advantage of them. To the point where we don't need men, and that's the mentality now. So, here we are.
All right. Well said. Thank you for coming on this panel. And
Let me just say something. I seen the last comment that absolutely came up, and I agree. If women get to vote, they need to be drafted.
wow, where is that? Hold on. Oh, here it is. Passport
Passport
Poppy.
We want
puppy.
we want equality so bad. Let's consider the equality that men don't get, especially when it comes to children and us bringing these 10 fingers and toes to the world because they have no say so. Their seed, no choice. Our body, my choice. Equality. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on this panel. Definitely appreciate it. Yes, so we have one more question and then we will jump to the comments, but let's finish out Ms. Polly's questions for you ladies. So we are all right, so I'm going back to you, Locks Keeper.
Yeah, so yeah, I feel like women rights. I'm actually in Seneca Falls, which is the birthing rights of women's rights. And like they have a museum and all of that. And I was just like, yeah, women did, especially in America, did fight for certain rights. And I feel like those rights are made. There is just certain things that men can do and do dangerous jobs that women most likely wouldn't do because just like either because of just your uterus and all that, you don't want to destroy it. You can't do too much physical work. And yeah, there is a point where like there is war and men do mostly have to do that, and now the feed is like if you want equal then you're gonna have to pick up a mother freaking gun and freaking aim to shoot and to kill if you have to. And so there is that type of like fire. And I could understand that completely. And also, like, just looking at my girlfriends and how they work, and, they're working for a living and they have to, pay those bills that American have and all that stuff. And so it prolongs some people's journey and the love factor I see. And then, like, some people would want to go to the extent of like getting matched up with somebody and hiring experts and all that jazz. And to find that love after they like have their job, they're paying their taxes, and then now they want to find their man. And so like sometimes that could be a little issue. I mean, like I feel like since I now work at an organic farm, it's more like I'm living with the earth. So I'm at the food chain. I'm at the meat does get processed. We are harvesting good plants and produce. We are like handling milks, Jersey cow milk. Like I'm learning so much, and it's here in America. Like if you go upstate, if you even go downstate, it's different. You're gonna get culture shock regardless. I mean, I came from Pittsburgh and then I went to New York. That in itself was a culture shock because people do live differently here in America. But overseas, it's like almost like a bigger picture. It's just like you group all the Americans together, but actually, some Americans live different lives, 100%. So now it's just like now you have the feminist movement as well that are coming up, and it's like it's hard as women. I feel like the modern woman that, and it's hard for a traditional woman because there is traditional women that love to nurture the kids and to cook and all that. I love that. I want to nurture kids. I want to cook and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, America, you got to pay those goddamn bills. And so now you're like, okay, now I got to live in this country. So there's outside factors that are playing in, and it's like independence for individuals, and it's like getting a little bit hectic out here. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Let's go with Lady E.
Okay. So question is, what is the issue with Western women having more liberties?
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I feel that some men feel like they have lost their masculinity due to feminism by women having a voice. Some men don't want to be or feel how can I put this? They feel less of a man. But in my opinion, it's there's not necessarily one answer, and you have to sit there and look up at it. Like maybe 50, 60, 70 years ago, marriages were possibly based off of um, as a survival mechanism. A man needed a woman to take care of the household, and a woman just needed a man to financially take care of her. I think our generation, and when I say our generation, people born in the late 60s and the 70s and the 80s, we're part of the evolution of the quote unquote modern day man and woman, and we have to learn. Um, I still feel that there is a way for women to play their role, and there is a way for men to play their role. It's just that we have to adapt to what's going on in today's day and age. And the reality of it is, if you go back 50 years ago, um, men were typically the ones who worked, and women were at home or did some type of work at home, or they did some type of part-time job. So she was relying on the man to take care of everything. Whereas in today's day and age, everyone is somewhat, in a sense, self-sufficient. Um, but when you go back, and when I say that it was a survival mechanism, you have to think about, you have some women who were abused in the household, whether it was verbal or physical. And that kind of made it to where you have some of our elders who may have told the granddaughters or their daughters or the nieces or the great nieces or whatever that, go out and get your education, do for yourself. Um, and it was because of what they had to deal with. Um, as a wife or a significant other in a household where they weren't happy, but they just had to pretend that they were happy. It's just more over, where do we find the common ground today? So therefore we can set a path for those that are coming up in the future, because obviously this new generation that's coming up, it's very questionable and it's sad and it's kind of scary. So how can we fix it? Um, so for me, especially within the culture of Black people, that it definitely has been a big evolution, and we really need to sit down and get to the bottom of it, and we need to figure it out before it spirals out of control, because other than that, it would probably be on the agenda of the colonizers as to what we're discussing today.
All right. Let's see. Oh wow, this thing moved. This thing took everyone. Okay, all right. I had to readjust it because I was like, wait. Okay. Miss Nebraska.
I don't have an answer for that question, so you can skip me.
Okay. All right. No worries. Okay, Miss Polly.
Hello. Um, I'll
You
say.
got your own question?
No, I remember the question. I will say this: the liberties I think that we have, just in general, I think it does affect the whole world. I think you just don't realize it because Americans are known to not really care about anywhere else but here. And like I said, just things that we don't really think about. I'm not saying it's bad or good per se, but it is just different. So just like I said earlier, with just women being able to go to school, having access to go to school, different cultures and things like that, you know, it is a known fact that if you go to school, you prolong things. You're not gonna want to get married at 18 after having children. You might wait until after you got to school and start a career. It does kind of change the timeline for women who are in a more traditional place or mindset in different cultures. So it does change things. I think that since we have the most liberties out of the whole world. Everyone wants to come here because we have the ability to not only just get more, from life. You could, obviously they'll say the American dream, or you get sold on the American dream, that you come here, you can do so much, which you can. But with all those liberties, obviously there will be things that are, consequences for those things, and for those things that we're able to do so much as women now, that for men who are from a different place, they're not used to the women being able to do so much things. It does sometimes get take from their idea of being a man. Well, if she does everything, like, what's my purpose? I think it leaves some men, not all men, but some men in a place of like, what's my purpose? If you can do everything for yourself, then what is the point? If you don't know me, guys, I don't believe in conditional interaction. Even though a lot of times some things are conditional, I don't want to. If I can do without it, I will pursue it that way. I don't want to be in a world where I am needed. I want to be wanted. I don't want someone to drop me off at the drop of a dime, provide them with something that is something that can change all the time. But if it's something I can give, like my love, my care, my loyalty, things like that I have control over, I want someone to be there for that. And I think when in men in a more traditional mind, they weren't shown to do anything other than provide those things that change. And if you can't provide that anymore, what can you give? What can you do? I think that's where it's a confusion for those people, and especially in the West, because men were shown to provide, give security, all these things. And when you tell them that, hey, I don't need that anymore, then they say, well, what can I give you? And then that, I think, turned into more of an emotional question, like, start thinking about what you can provide differently. Or, like I said, be wanted, not needed. But I know not everybody lives that way, and traditional families are made that the other way. You want to be wanted. You want to be needed, because that if you're always needed, then that means you always have a place. So I think that's the conversation that's transitioning from more materialistic to more of a mental thing. So that's my thoughts on it. I don't think it's bad or good. I think it's just different.
All right, perfect. So stay right there. This is the last question before we get to the comments in the chat. So the question is that are traditional women dying out worldwide? And if so, how does that affect the world?
Yeah, I do think, especially in the West, we are not shown to be wives. We're not taught to be wives. We're taught to be independent. We're taught to be very self-sufficient as women. So since we no longer are fully traditional, not saying you don't have traditional ways, you can be partially traditional. Since those things are kind of transitioning, especially with the younger girls or 20s, like that, they're not traditional at all. If you remove that, it is changing. And I think, like I said, expecting worldwide, one of the big things I said earlier was, like, in the Middle East, where you think everything's either polygamist or everybody's very, very traditional. Men in a traditional place are turning to say, I'm okay with my woman having other men because of the fact that I know there's a lot of women now who are going to school and things like that, but I want to be married and have children. Now they're considering different dynamics. That is how we're actually affecting the world way across the sea, and you don't even notice it. So I do think it's changing, and it is affecting everybody. Like you said, the world's getting smaller. So we definitely is affecting us because we're now mingling. We're going to have a lot more diversity. You're going to meet people who are mixed and all kinds of stuff. You're no longer going to just be like, I'm just white or I'm just Japanese. Races are dying out because of this kind of stuff. So, it's just going to, and that's all.
Oh, all right. Looks like we lost somebody. All right. Hold on. Oh, there you are. You messing up the rotation, girl. All right. Oh, you're on mute anyway, but you were actually next.
We are on question 8, correct?
We are.
I do not think that traditional women are necessarily dying out. I really do feel that our generation is part of the evolution. And when I say the evolution, you got to think about it. Look at technology and look how technology is evolving rapidly, and we have to catch up with it. I feel like that a lot of that, especially within African American culture or African culture, period, which means Afro Caribbean, African American, Afro Latino, Afro Latina, the Morenas, whatever, however you want to put it, we have to move at a faster pace. It's moreover, we have to find a balance. And I think it comes up to our generation, and it sucks. We have to find the balance as to how do we evolve with the change in the world, the change of women having more liberties, the change, not necessarily the women having more liberties, but the women are being able to make money on a level as some men, women having a say so, women being able to speak out on the things or that may hurt them. And I understand men feel like they are losing their masculinity. And most men, I would have to say, yes, they're probably losing their masculinity. However, it's depending on how you respond to the movement. Like I said, you have some women who have been in abusive relationships and they remain in abusive relationships because it was their survival mechanism, versus in today's day and age, a woman doesn't necessarily have to stay in a in an abusive relationship to survive. She has the means, she has the resources to be able to be on her own, versus if you look like 50, 60 years ago, you had a lot of women that were in abusive relationships, or women who were in relationships with men that were womanizers, and they just had to deal with it and say nothing about it because that was their way to survive. So we have to look at it on different angles, and we have to come together, which is going to be hard, to where we can find a blueprint where we can all move forward with. But I honestly feel that our generation, unfortunately, we are like the prodigy. We are trying to figure this out, and how do we move forward. And the sad part about it is most of us, especially at my age, we have kids and we're trying to figure out how to send them out in this world and move about and be fair to the opposite sex, and how to respect the opposite sex, and how do we come together? It's the same thing as how we trying to figure out how black and white can come together and be one, especially in the United States. It's the same thing with gender. How do we come together? How do we come to an agreement to where is how we mold and how we change the quote unquote American family and make Western culture desirable again?
Gotcha. Okay. All right. We are gonna go Miss Nebraska on this one.
So I would say to question number 8,
Yeah.
yes. I would say yes. Traditional women are dying out here in America. It's everything goes now. Um, we have evolved a lot towards the negative and the positive. Um, what was the second part? Worldwide?
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So I'll just reiterate the question. It's a two-part question, really. Are traditional women dying out worldwide, and then, if so, how does that affect the world?
According to the passport men and bros, it appears that traditional women are not worldwide. I mean, are worldwide, outside of America. Um, how does it affect the world? I would say America. It definitely affects America. It's a divide and conquer here in this country. Men against women, women against men. Um, I would say a lot of relationships have it has affected a lot of relationships and marriages because of that. And those are my thoughts.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. So we got through all of the questions. I do know that there were some comments that you wanted to address. Just let me know which comment it is. I'll highlight it and we can speak to it. Or do you want me to pick out questions for you, ladies? Up to you all.
So there was a comment that I put in a private chat. Well, not the comment, but
Oh, hold
the
on.
young man who made the comment about Locke's keeper earlier.
Hold on. Let me see.
While you're looking for that, can I ask the ladies a question? Y'all might have gone over this. How many believe in passport babes or sisters and going over? And how many of y'all are, you know, American stateside?
It's a great question.
And I'm sorry if y'all already answered
Oh,
it.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm down for talking to gentlemen overseas and different places. Because I'm from Florida, so you obviously I interact with a lot more people from different places, especially the West Indies. So it just you're just around the different people from different cultures all the time. So I'm fine with dating someone outside my race and outside the country or different, areas. I think Locke should answer hers. That she was so excited and it was wonderful to see.
Yeah, I don't mind dating outside my race. I mean, my parents, they adopted me and they're African Americans and they are have like Dominican in them and they told me, like you can date outside your race. And so even that, I just was just like, oh, wow, okay, let me just be open-minded to just friends, just hanging out with friends and different races and all stuff. They learn about me, I learn about them. Because, in older generations, a lot of things get bestowed upon them, and there is people that get a stigma or a thinking about it and just like, oh, yeah, like maybe I shouldn't date that race, like maybe I should stick with my race. And so I feel like because my parents allowed me to be like open minded, that allowed me to be like, okay, well, let me just explore the fields. And there's some people that were hurt me. There's some people that didn't hurt me. I mean, Roman, I didn't even see him. He just made me laugh. And I was just like, who is this guy? I mean, like, I never met a guy like this. And so that's when I was just like, oh wow, he's like Ukrainian, and I don't even know anything about Ukraine at all, and we just fell in love, and it's just like I feel like when you have a good soul, a good spirit, and you're in the spirit, in my sense, it just made sense. It just we clicked together, and we're both learning each other's cultures. Now the family aspects come from different. I'm not saying that his parents are like all for it, because they are totally different about it versus my parents, where they have like those, where they have adopted kids that are biracial. Like I am biracial. I am Nigerian, British, Native American, you know? So like it's not so crazy dating outside my race. But because they see my skin color first value, it could be a factor in America. And then also, I feel like in America culture, there is the Amish community. You know, the Amish community is in that traditional way as well, in their systems as well, and they're living here in America, and they're still going by, and they're still thriving, and they're still making their way. Especially because I live in upstate New York, I've seen Amish people walking around. It's like, oh shit, okay, this is different from Connecticut. You know, so
Absolutely, it is.
I respect them.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get to some super chats that I missed. Shout out to Taylor Made Dreams again. Men that are leaving have money, time, and options. All right. My man Gerard in the building. Thank you so much for the super chat. Passport bros are choosing black women of other cultures. We aren't anti-black women, we are just anti-matrix. I read that one already. Read this one already. Let's see. I read that one. Sorry about that. Shout out to Mike Johnson. Traveling helps you become a better person. I'm just going through these, so feel free to chime in. But I just want to give a shout out to anyone that makes a donation. That's all. What happened?
I find that funny.
Well,
Shout out to the
this one I haven't even read it yet. Here are the shame tactics. No issues with women overseas. Women in the U.S. want you to submit to them, not the other way around. Okay. Sidebar: black women were working.
I don't get that.
All right, all good. Shout out to Sweet Dreams. Amazing panel, beautiful lady. Shout out to Kings, keeping it real. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sweet Dreams.
Yeah, thank you for everyone that donated. Definitely appreciate it. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to find that comment, Miss Nebraska. I'm looking for it.
Also, Prime VA said there are passport bros who are shamed for having a wife from Africa. I've never seen anybody be shamed for getting a wife from Africa. Actually, I don't see enough of it. I don't see it. I don't see a lot of passport bros going to Africa, finding a wife. But that was an interesting comment.
Yeah, no, there's a bunch. There's a bunch in South Africa, a bunch in Ghana, Senegal. Actually, Stallion, he might be in Kenya right now.
Yeah, Stallion did mention, is that the Italian? I think he said he's Italian. He said he's married to a Ghanaian woman. Yeah.
He's in Ghana. Okay, I always mix up Ghana and Kenya sometimes, but there's brothers that are there. I know what's talked about mainly. Well, you know what? I'll say this. So there's travelers like who just go to one or two places, but then there's other travelers that that like travel multiple places. But I will say this: what a lot of people don't know, a lot of the gentlemen that are part of the passport bro movement aren't content creators, so you're not really going to see their stuff on social media. So the only time like we'll see the stuff because we're in groups with them, but a lot of them are in the continent of Africa. And I actually had a live earlier, and I think some of y'all caught it, but with a Afro Brazilian woman, and there's a lot of men that like black Brazilian women or black women in Honduras, Cuba, different places. So the pushback that I've heard is that like it's the westernized culture. So it's not the black woman, it's the westernized culture. So it's even Caucasian women. So it's not just black women that men who travel have issues with.
We definitely understand that, but I guess maybe for a lot of women on the panel, we hear black women in particular. Like I've been on panels where I've heard, specifically black women. And just like it's kind of new for me to hear about passport bros within the past couple of months, it was definitely foreign to me. But I think a lot of women on this panel may have specifically heard of black women being the problem. And you have a lot of the quote unquote passport bros looking for a black woman or a woman of a non-Caucasian ethnicity to fill in the needs that they want. And I think that's where we have a lot of the disconnect.
So I would like to ask Mesh Monster who shamed him for marrying a woman from Africa. He keeps saying that he was shamed for marrying a woman from Africa. Who shamed you?
Yeah. Shout out to the super chat. He says, "I married a woman from Africa and I was shamed." Yeah. If you could just expound on that, because this is something that I'm not privy to.
I can actually comment on that. I dated and I was in a relationship with a Nigerian man, and moreover, my American friends told me, there was the stereotypes. Oh, you need to be careful. He is a scammer. He's gonna ask you for money. He probably has a wife in his country, da 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 da. And none of that was a factor, but I did face a lot of backlash on top of, I've even faced backlash from people from other different cultures. He's probably dating you because you're more of a light skinned woman and he's dark skinned, or they've asked questions, or is he one of the black guys that only date light skinned women? So, in a sense, because of personal experience, I can understand where he's coming from. But then again, it's like I come from a family of immigrants, so it kind of makes me think, like, what do you feel about my family members? Why do you think we're here, or do you think that we married somebody to gain our citizenship?
Oh, okay. So I got it. So he's saying that black American woman shamed him for marrying a woman from Africa. So I thought, okay, so that flew over my head. I'm sorry. This is the second live, and I got another one in less than like 20 minutes. But okay, so he's saying that American black woman shamed him for marrying a woman from Africa.
Wow.
Yes. And E, were you shamed by black American men for marrying an African man?
I didn't marry him. I dated one. We
Well,
were in a
sorry.
committed relationship, but I was shamed by the women and the men.
Wow. That's a
And
problem.
the crazy part is that was actually one of the most respectable relationships that I was in. And I don't know if it's because it's the correlation between Caribbean and African culture where there's, there's some similarities, but there's still a lot of differences. I don't know, but I was happy in that relationship. And while I was happy in that relationship, people were trying to discredit that relationship as being a happy relationship, and in that process I wind up losing a lot of friends and had to change my circle in a sense.
That's a shame. That's a shame. That's really unfortunate. Um,
And the thing is, even though he was African, he was a US citizen.
mhm.
So I even got the pushback of, maybe he's trying to marry you so he can get the K1 visa so he can come to America. And it's even when I tried to explain, like, he's been here since the early 90s and the job that he holds won't allow him to be, doing what he do for a living.
Mhm.
um, I still got a lot of pushback. Well, maybe he has an arranged marriage in back in Nigeria and all of this other stuff, and it was hurtful. It was hurtful, and for me, it kind of just made me look at, like, with my family, from us being first generation immigrants, like, how do you really feel about me? How do you really feel about my parents? How do you feel about my brothers and sisters? How do you really feel about us being in America and even dating quote unquote African American black men? I've gotten pushback from them because, and then I live in the South also, that I've been told on a couple of occasions by black men that I have dated that they don't think it's fair that people come from other countries, including brown people like myself, and get scholarships and what have and what nots to attend school on student visas because, quote unquote, they're sending the best of the best. And reality is, if you're sending someone out in a running to do something, you're going to send the best of the best. I mean, as the United States, we do that in the Olympics. We're not going to send me to go run out in the women's track team because I cannot compare it to the women's track team. The same thing with the men. You send the best of the best. And so I've gotten a lot of pushback with dating, unfortunately, American black men down here in the South. All of them? No, but there's quite a few that sticks out like a sore thumb that I've gotten pushback from.
Shout out to my man Jackson Jeter in the building. Yeah, passport sisters, don't stop living your life. Marry whoever your heart tells you to. It's your destiny, and your movie keep shining. Yeah, absolutely, man. Shout out for that comment. That definitely needed that because I'm very disheartened. Like why people would shame people, and like it's really, I don't even know what to say. I'm very, I'm taken aback by that feedback.
Now,
From Sorry, go
um,
ahead. No,
now
you good?
I have heard. I have a lot of African friends, so I have heard their parents, like especially like Nigerians. I've had heard their parents say, "Don't I don't want you dating Black American women per se, or Black American men." But I didn't know that that people were getting bashed for dating African women and African men. That's crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was very hurtful. Like, it was so hurtful to the point that I cried about it because I was in a situation where I was absolutely happy. I was happy at the way he was treating me, and I was happy because I was being loved in the way that I was being loved, and I thought that they would be happy for me, but apparently they weren't.
Right. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. We got to do better, man. We got to do better. Let's see here. Um, MIA's looking for shelks to whiz on Khalifa's faces. I missed that one, bro. But thank you for the super chat.
I would like to ask Locks Keeper, have you experienced any like negative backlash for dating a Ukrainian man or European men?
Yes.
From Black American men?
Yes. Yes. Especially like on social media, like I comment on women, men only look good with dreadlocks. Women shouldn't have dreadlocks or whatever. And then like I looked in the comment section, I said something, and then they looked at my Facebook profile and they saw that I was dating, to them, a white man. They were just like, of course, look at her. She's dating a white man. And I was just like, oh, okay, dang. I didn't realize that there was like still people out here that actually don't want you dating outside your race, coming from that community, because I do expect that from other communities, you know. And I was rather a little bit shocked that it was coming from my community. But then I was just like, well, what the heck? You know, it's not so surprising then now, because it's just like it's just certain standards. It's like almost like, oh, they understand your experience. So it's going to be easier for you to be in a relationship with your race because of experiences. Some of their arguments are. And then I'm just like, well, I don't want to be closed minded. Like, you know, like, why should I stop it at friendship? Or why should
Yeah.
I, you know, it's kind of like, well, no, I feel like I can learn a lot from them. And I did. I learned a lot. I untapped something that I thought I could never untap. Or I think I was meant to untap it just to hear the Ukrainian ways and just like what they go through. And now I'm starting to understand, you know, Lady E, about how she will have pushback about immigrants, because like his family is immigrants, and they had an education over there, and then they came to America and they didn't have that education. Was just like, sorry, no, you're going to have to do the cleaning of the houses, doing those like lower class jobs or the working class, and they were just more into them doing that. And so there's a stigma, like um my, like, I wouldn't say in-laws, but basically Roman's family, my boyfriend, their family was just like taken back at the fact that Roman brought this black woman into this house, and just like, your kids will not get into college. That's what one of the comments were, like, how are they going to get into schools? And I was just like, dang. Now
Yeah.
me, coming from a family, my parents, they are African American, they're Afro Latinas, or they have like a little bit mixed race, but in face value they are black. They were just like, you know, be open, absorb, learn. You know, if you do dates outside your race, that's cool. If you date inside your race, that's good, as long as they have a good soul and a good heart. And so that's what I live by. And you know, I dated, you know, some of them didn't work out, but this one is working out. Working out for the
I'm
better.
so happy for you. I hope everything goes well in the future for you too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nebraska.
Yeah. Definitely.
And can I elaborate the pushback that I get from American men, and I think Black American men, and it's basically based off of a lack of education and knowledge. And I think Mr. King Dreams, you can kind of relate. A lot of pushback that I get from Black American men having pushback of other Black women from different cultures or different countries is that I hear a lot, and I've heard it from multiple men that I've dated, that our ancestors built this country, and I get that. But we also have to understand that, especially when it comes to the Caribbean, you know, slavery happened in the Caribbean.
Correct.
The de-emasculation of the Black man happened in the Caribbean, especially in Jamaica.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it's not anything that is taught in Black history.
Right.
You actually have to travel to the islands. A lot of people don't know that there are battlefields in the Caribbean. There
Yep.
are plantations in the Caribbean. And prime example, St. Lucia. St. Lucia changed rule between the British and the French 14 times before St. Lucia became an independent nation. This small, tiny little island was fought over and had wars multiple times, which the natives and the Africans that was brought to that island, they fought as well too. And nobody knows that because they're oblivious to it. And it's like, I can't get mad at them for not knowing. The best I can do is educate them. But the question is, how will they receive it?
Right.
Will they think I'm lying, or, am I telling the truth? Some people think that I'm lying, and, a lot of people think I'm telling the truth. And the reality is, there's a lot to learn from Caribbean culture. And a lot of people don't realize, especially in Jamaica, which I know Mr. King Dreams, the de-emasculation of the Black man occurred in the Caribbean. This is when the Black man was being raped by the European man. A lot of people don't know that. And not only they were being raped in front of their families.
Great. We got to say great for the YouTube algorithm.
Oh, great. Taken advantage of.
Yeah. You good.
Those, and a lot of people don't know that, but that is definitely something that needs to be brought into light. And unfortunately, African history is an elective and not a requirement for graduation. And I feel that if African history was a requirement for graduation, everyone would have a different view. Everyone would have the knowledge, the necessary knowledge that would kind of defeat a lot of the racism, a lot of the prejudice that we're dealing with, a lot of the ignorance that we're dealing with, a lot. Right. There's so much that would be depleted if they just only knew or took the time to listen, because we hear about 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed the blue and he came to America, but nobody really talks about the stops in the Caribbean.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's a well, I would love to have a part 2 of this and actually talk about some more like history and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I do have to go. So I would love to get everyone's final thoughts. Yeah, because I have my third live stream at 10 o'clock. And for everyone that's watching, I'm going to be streaming. So it's going to be a dual stream. So I'm going to be back. So you guys are getting a triple header. You guys are getting a triple header of me. So all different topics for sure. So let's get your final thoughts, starting with you, Lady E.
I actually enjoyed being a part of this panel. I enjoyed seeing and listening to different views of the women, as well as the gentleman, the one gentleman that's on here. And just for us to have that forum where we can talk to one another and express our opinions without having to get pushback from one another, and just being able to see things from a different view. And I love that. And I wish all the other panels were like that, because usually on other panels, if you have seen me, I'm like the mean one. But, I guess that's part of the culture.
Like I'm not with the clown stuff over here. You know what I mean? No disrespect to anyone else's channel, but when clown stuff starts happening, I'll take myself out that situation. But definitely make sure that you guys follow Lady E on Instagram. It is it's underscore E underscore 504. Shout out to the boot. All right, thank you so much. Okay, All right. We are gonna go. You know what? Let's go with Locks Keep. Locks Keeper. Let's go. Let's go. Final thoughts, and let people know where they can find you.
Well, привет, jak sprawy, дуже dobre. Now, I just spoke in Ukrainian. I never thought I would learn a different language except for Spanish, because that's what they tell you, either Spanish or French. Now, I say keep it open minded. Now, I'm not saying that you have to, get in a relationship outside your race, but start with friendship, because you never know. A lot of us are alike, and certain cultures bring people together. And, just respect it and just absorb it and observe, and just like really humble ourselves, because we came a long way, and there's a lot of people that died just to pave the way in here in America to just even give us a living. So just keep an open mind and an open spirit. And yeah, and I'm the locks keeper. You can find me on Instagram. Basically, I just do all things locks. I talk about natural hair, and I also teach about self-maintenance, and I'm a part of an organic farm. I'm really, really, really going to leave you with this. Read your ingredients, because we are shorted, and it's huge, and I think it needs to be talked about it more in the Black community about just living as healthy as possible.
Agreed. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, guys. This was amazing as well. Thank you, thank you. I love topics like this, and I love just having an open discussion and learning more about different people's journeys as well.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, let's go with all right, Miss Nebraska.
I would say thank you so much to Kings and Dreams and Miss Polly for having us on. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the beautiful, gorgeous ladies on the panel. Such a pleasure to be on the panel tonight. I appreciate the trolls. I appreciate everybody who came through tonight to give their opinions and comments. And ready for part 2. And I would also say love is love. There's no boundary of love. If you find it in, Europe, Africa, Colombia, South America, wherever, go for it. But, don't feel the need to have to put down other people to validate what you do. Just go for it. Do you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Nebraska. For sure. All right. Now we got it's Brandy Renee.
I hate that I came late, but I'm glad I came in when I did. I believe in divine timing. And I just want to thank you all for just having me. Love the discussion. Like I said, these always lend a great opportunity for me to talk to my daughters, for us to talk about love and life and relationships. And so it's Brandy Renee on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And yeah, I look forward to continuing these discussions. I do. So thank you very much. Thank you, Miss Polly. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, girls. So, and I look forward to working with you ladies again, and definitely with you, King. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Appreciate you so much.
Miss Brandy Renee, I have to say that you're aging like fine wine, and I just like this whole bottle that I consumed while I was on the panel.
Girl, trying to keep it right, honey.
No doubt. No doubt. All right. So we got the woman of the hour who put this whole thing together, Miss Polly.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you, fabulous.
Okay. I appreciate, first off, I want to say thank you, because I could not have put this together without assistance, according to my internet. It hates me so much, even though I live in the corn. And I will say this, just to kind of top it off, is that this is the kind of, I know everyone's like, oh, I always talk about being poly, and this is what I mean by connections. It doesn't have to be sexual all the time. It doesn't have to be like that. being able to interact with multiple people, seeing where people come from, that is just such a joy to me. And on this panel, they're connected to me in mind. And even if we don't agree to everything, as you can clearly see, we still are connected. And I think it's amazing that Miss Nebraska, we're from Nebraska. I was from Florida, and then I met Miss Holly from Florida, so we vibe from Florida. I met Miss Brandy. She has a lot of things on Clubhouse, I believe. She talks to a lot of poly people, and she's a little older, and it's wonderful to see her be graceful even after divorce, things like that. I can see this in these people, and as you can see, they're so different. Even Locks, beautiful woman, does international things. She's connected to international things. She sits in her traditional ways, and she's a lovely person. These are people and connections I've made, and I love to share those connections and those people with the world, because I think they are valuable people to be seen. So I appreciate you all for being here, because it's just amazing to see you. And then even for Miss, she said she stands on her ground. She's a strong woman, and she believes what she believes. She stands next to her husband, and she shows so much dedication and loyalty. Like, those things I value in people, and I see them, and I'm saying, and there's nowhere else. But I love that I have the community around me. So I love to share that with everybody here. And our topic today about, obviously, Passport Bros. It is a big topic. It is very hot, and I don't really like hot topics necessarily, but I wanted other men to see and women to see that we're all Black women aren't yelling and at each other's throats. We all don't have to agree, and we all can sit in a room and have a conversation and be from different walks of life. And we are quality women that, if we are available, you can talk to. So we exist. And some of us are traditional, some of us are not. And we're not bashing Black men up here, because I didn't hear anyone bashing Black men. So this is what I want some people to see, that, we are here too. Don't forget us. And when you think about maybe being like F these Western Black women, think about us, because we're not doing it. So just keep that in mind, that we see some, try to say some and not all, because we're here too. Put that out there. But my thoughts on the subject is be open and love each other and see what's out there. It's a great big world out there. So enjoy discovering. Other than that, I'm good.
All right. Perfect. All right. Let me just say my quick piece. I really gotta really be quick. All right. Thank you all for watching. Definitely appreciate it. Shout out to Miss Polly for coming up with this great idea. I think that it's very important for men and women to have these conversations. Sometimes things may get a little chippy, if you will, or a little bit uncomfortable, but it's good to have these conversations, talk to each other, not talking at each other. And we will be doing a part 2 of this sometime soon. And definitely make sure that you follow all of the ladies on Instagram, subscribe to all the content creators on YouTube, Twitch. Let's continue to build our network and stay purposeful. And I am going to be streaming in less than 5 minutes from my channel, doing a live with the Andrew Show and my man QB Passport Flexing. So we're gonna be talking some Manosphere talk. So can't wait for that. And triple header, guys. So thank you so much. Appreciate y'all. Stay purposeful, and I'll be back in a few minutes. All right.